Hello there. If you are a low-rated player who finds himself lose many games by making simple one-move blunders, then this video is for you. Okay, so before we start, let's first define the terms. What do I mean by blunder? Well, there are two sorts of blunders. So the first sort of blunder is when you miss simple tactics. So for example, you play a chess game, you have the opportunity to fork your opponent, to fork for example queen and king with your knight, and this will win you game on the spot. Instead, you miss the opportunity and you play some other move. So this is one kind of a blunder from your part. The second kind of blunder is when you miss simple tactics from your opponent. So it's not like that you had a fork and you missed it, but for example you missed that your opponent had a fork. And then you just run into a fork, you play a move, he plays the move with the knight, and then he, for example, captures your queen. Or even more simple second kind of blunder is you just move your queen to a square which is hit by his bishop. You didn't see this and he just takes your queen. So these are one move blunders which cost you a game. So you can ask yourself which is more important, which blunders are more dramatical. Well, of course the second type, because in the first type, if you just miss a winning move, if you had the tactical resources, you miss the move, you play something else, well, it's too bad, but at least you are still in the game. You didn't lose the game, you still, I mean, the game goes on and you still have your chances to win or lose or draw. But in this other type of blunders, these are the real problems, and it is this kind of blunders which I want to address, is when you miss a simple tactics from your opponent and then you just give away the game in one move. So you could play 50 perfect moves and have everything under control and get better position and do everything right, and then if you just make a blunder, if you just lose your queen in one move, then the game is over. So this kind of second blunder is the reason why you most likely lose so many games, and this is the issue and the problem you have to solve first. And this brings us to a very important conclusion, and this is that maybe paradoxically, but it's much more important to be aware of your opponent's best moves than on your own. So it's more important to see what resources in the position does your opponent have than which resources do you have. And we all know that in practice our mindset is often tuned completely the other way around. So we are focused when we play chess on our moves, our plans, our tactical opportunities, and we think much more about our moves and our plans than we do about opponents' ones. And I guess this is natural. When you start playing chess, you think how to get your opponent in trouble, how to make good moves, how to set traps. You're looking for tactics, but all the time you're looking just from your perspective. And this then forms a habit of looking only your moves and neglecting your opponent's move. And this habit can be very difficult to overcome. In fact, when I make a retrospective of my own games, I often find myself thinking about my opponent's move only after I make a move. So I come up with some kind of plan, I make a move, and then it's my opponent's turn, it's his clock, and while he's thinking about his move, it is only then when I think, I look at the board and I think about his best response. But of course, then it's too late. I can see the best move then, but there is nothing I can do because it's his move. So this is what happens in practice. So we have this bad habit which we need to overcome. This is the idea behind stopping blunderings. And also this is the reason why you might find yourself doing hundreds of tactical training puzzles and still make this kind of one-move blunders. So this problem is not simply solved by doing lots of tactical puzzles. And this is because the tactical puzzles train you to find the best move in the position which is first set on the board. So it's not the position which will emerge after the move, but the position is right there on the board, and it's your move. And usually you are the one having the initiative in this kind of tactical puzzles. So this solving tactical puzzles in fact encourages you to be focused on your next move and on your plan, which is of course necessary to win a chess game, but this will not solve you the problem of not seeing your opponent's plan. Because this is the mindset when you're solving puzzles, it's your move, you're looking for your plans, you very rarely stop and look what resources does your opponent have. You only see maybe some forced responses if you do check where the king can go and so on. But you don't look actively for your opponent's move when making tactics. And this is why tactical training does not solve this problem. What does solve this problem? So here is the big secret. The only way to stop making one-move blunders so often is to force yourself to think about your opponent's moves and plans. Because like we said, your opponent's resources in the position are more important than your own. So to make this even more concrete, when playing a chess game, you have to ask yourself 2 questions on each move. When I say in each move, of course, I think once you are out of the book in the opening. If you play opening the same 5 moves every time, you don't have to stop, of course. But after you are out of the book, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. So the first question is, after your opponent makes a move, so immediately after he makes a move, you should ask yourself, if it was his move right now, what is the best move he could play in this position? So just imagine that you can say pass, and then he makes a move, you say pass, and then he can make a move again. What would be his best move in this position? You have to actively ask yourself, and then you have to think about his best move like you were in his shoes. So think for him. What is the best move in his position? And then once you find the best move for him, according to your best ability, then you will see if this is a threat, if this is okay with you, or if you have to do something about this. And if you do this, then you will see, for example, that in this position after he made the move, his best move is just to chop your unprotected piece. And then you will notice, okay, his best move is to take my piece for free, so I have to do something about this. And the second thing you have to do is, okay, you have your thought process. It depends whether the position is more positional or tactical, doesn't matter. But once you decide on the move, which move you can make, before you make a move, you actually make a move and hit the clock, you need to ask yourself the question: if I am to play this move, what is the best move my opponent can play in this new position after this move is played? So you need to play the move in your head, and then imagine the position with this move on the board, and think actively about from the other side. So actively think, again, put yourself in your opponent's shoes, and actively think, what would you play, what would be the best move if you were him in the game. And then of course you have to make sure that his best move doesn't make you uncomfortable. And if this is so, then you can actually play the move. And this is it. I mean, this is very simple advice, but I guarantee you that if you follow this simple advice, you will blunder much less. And I know this from my own experience, because I was thinking very hard about this, why do I blunder, and how does blunder happen in my own game. And I noticed this one pattern, this one rule which emerges all the time. Every time I made a blunder, this was because I was focused on my move and my plans, and I didn't consider my opponent's plans. So I would play some move, and I would be focused on, when I play, for example, knight c5, I'm focused on my next move and my next plans, and I didn't ask myself, okay, but what if I play knight c5, let me play this move in my head, knight c5, and then let me actively look for my opponent's best move. And if I have done this, I wouldn't have blundered almost every time. So almost every time I blundered, this is because I didn't do this. And when I do this, then usually I don't make obvious one move blunders. Okay, so the question is, how do you train yourself to do this? How to do this consistently? Well, if you blunder often, that means that you don't have this habit of actively looking for your opponent's best move. This is the only answer. So how to acquire this habit is, first of all, you have to play longer time controls game. So rapid at minimum, classical is the best. So if you can play 30 minutes, 30 plus 30, 45 plus 45, it's perfect. Also, if you play rapid, like 15 plus 10, it's also achievable. Maybe you will often come to time trouble if you do this consistently, but it doesn't matter. For training purposes, you can even do this by playing rapid. And then when you play these longer time control games, you have to consciously force yourself to ask yourself these 2 questions after every move. And this is difficult. In the beginning, you will see that you will often forget it. You will all the time you will be coming back to your old habits just looking for focusing on your moves, your plans, and just playing something it seems nice to you at the board, and not looking at your opponent's plans. So as time goes on, you have to force yourself, you have to consciously ask yourself these questions, and then by time, as you do this, your brain will catch up with this new habit. And then at one point, hopefully, you will no longer need to put a conscious effort in this, but your brain will just acquire this new habit, and your brain will ask these questions automatically without you forcing him to ask these questions. And then once you achieve this, once you get this habit, once you get in the state that your brain automatically seeks for your opponent's best responses and best moves, then it's okay. Only then it's okay to play blitz, because then your brain is adjusted. It has new habit, and then when you play blitz, your brain will do the same, only quicker and less deeper. But it doesn't matter. The habit will be there. And the problem is blitz that while playing blitz, you are just exercising your habits as you have them. So if you now have a bad habit of just looking your moves and not looking at your opponent's moves, then by playing blitz you just encourage this habit. You will not change the habit by playing blitz. And once you manage to change the habit, then it's okay to play blitz, because you already have a good habit, and your brain will just enforce this habit while playing blitz. So my advice is, if you blunder, stop playing blitz, play long time control games, and try to acquire this new habit. And at the end of this video, I would like to answer two possible objections. So I'm preventively answering the objections to these advices. So the first objection to this advice could be, okay, I'm doing this, I ask myself these questions on every move, and still from time to time I blunder. And on that I can answer, of course you will blunder. You will always blunder. As long as you play chess, you will blunder. This happens for a million reasons, and you will never be able to cut your blunders to zero. But if you use this approach, what I can guarantee you is that the blunders will become an exception and not a rule. So maybe right now the blunder is a rule. So almost every other game is decided by the blunder. And if you do this approach, then your blunders will become much less, and it will become more as an exception as a rule. And of course, it depends also of your tactical awareness. So it could happen, for example, that in a given position you are actively looking for your opponent's best move, and your opponent has a fork, and you are looking for his move, and you don't see that he has a fork, and you play some other move, and then he plays a fork. Okay, this happened not because you didn't actively look for his best move, but because your tactical awareness and your pattern recognition didn't allow you to see his best move. And cure for this problem is like in this first type of blunder, if you happen to miss tactical opportunities from your side, and this is just to train tactics. So you have to do tactics, to train tactical puzzles, to do this every day, to find good resources. So I advise always to solve the puzzles which are humanly composed, so it can be either a Chessable or Chess King or some good book. So humanly composed puzzles which have a different type of tactical motifs and patterns and so on. And by solving this kind of exercises, you will increase your tactical awareness, and then you will be able to see your opponent's threats. But of course, you have to first ask yourself, what are my opponent's threats? What is the best move by my opponent? And only then you can use your tactical awareness in order to find his best move. And the second objection could come from a high-rated player, which can just say, well, this is all nonsense, because I never did this exercise, I never tried to consciously force myself to ask myself some questions, and I just stopped blundering at some point. Well, to answer this, I have to say that this is often the case with high-rated players. They have a good habits, and they don't know how they acquire them. Because the high-rated players often started to play chess as kids, and they just acquired these habits while playing. So if they started to play when they were 9 and 10 years old, their brain just picked up the fact that you have to look at your opponent's best move, and they just did it, and they didn't put any conscious effort into doing so. And this is the main difference between kids playing chess, starting chess as young, and us adult improvers who who have to actively fight our bad habits and actively acquire our good habits. And I did talk about this theory of mine with a stronger player, and I told him what my conclusions were, and he just told me, he was like, well, of course you have to look at your opponent's response. This is what chess is all about. So for him, this is just common sense. This is just something you do. So I guess that this player never had this problem of not looking at his opponent's threats and moves. He just naturally did so because this is how you play chess. And yes, of course, I agree. This is what a good chess player needs to have, this habit on just naturally looking your opponent's move. But like I said, the difference is that with us adult improvers, we have to actively work to overcome our bad habits and acquire good habits. And well, the people who maybe have more talent, or they just begin earlier with chess, they just have these habits without having to actively work on them. Okay, this would be it for this topic. I hope you liked the video. I hope you will give this advice a try. I hope you will stop blundering, and at this moment you will be able to enjoy chess more, because it will be more about ideas and less about, let's say, luck. So if you did like the video, please click the like button, leave the comment below, subscribe to my channel if you didn't, and I will see you soon with more chess. Cheers.